I'm not prepping for a show. The goal of this season is to not only become a pro natural bodybuilder, but it's to compete amongst the pros and to actually have a place in there. But not even just that. My main goal this season is to get on a world stage. I want to get on a fucking world stage. Welcome back to the Elevate channel, guys. Today's going to be very different. It's not going to be just another prep video, just another workout video. Today, I really want to talk about something that is going to be extremely useful to you all, because if you subscribe to the channel, you definitely give a shit about improving your physique, improving your body, improving your performance, and get to the next level. And the reason why I want to share this video is because I have gotten to the next level, not just in this prep, just in general. I'm going to talk you through all of the biggest mistakes that I made in the previous prep that got me looking super skinny, not even as conditioned as I am now, way too drained in energy, and you know, I'm not making those mistakes again, which is the reason why I feel so much better than I've ever been, and I look so much better than I've ever been. So yeah, it's going to be a whole workout. It's going to be a whole push workout I'm going to talk you through. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the biggest mistakes that I made so you don't make them. So one, if you ever prep for a show or any competition, you can listen to the words I'm saying and actually think about what you are doing. Two, even if you're not a competitive bodybuilder, you're just a bodybuilder, somebody who's trying to like build a great body and feel great in the process, this video will be extremely useful to you. And three, I also want to just be completely transparent and show you what it looks like when you have been prepping for literally nearly a year and a half, because that's how long I've been prepping, and being at this disgustingly low level of body fat, how performance can look. Because right now I'm not stronger than I was in my peak bulk, obviously, but I am so much stronger than I was 4 weeks out in 2023, like a completely different level. And you know what, like even talking in 2023, I would be like talking so slowly, because my energy was so low. I had to sit down like all the time. Everyone wants to build a bigger natural physique and obviously improve their performance and look and feel fucking incredible. Right now, I weigh 90.6 kilos. Today we've got a new low. And do you know what? It's almost been every single day. Aside from the high days, Friday and Saturday, every single morning I'm waking up with 0.1 or 0.2 less on the scale. And do you know what? This is literally nearly ridiculous. It's because at the peak of my bulk, I was 108 kilos. 108. Which means that to this day, I've literally dropped 18 kilos. Now, it's not about the kilos. You would think that me dropping 18 kilos, nearly 20 kilos, I will be looking maybe like so much skinnier, tinier. But the reality is I'm not. And you're gonna see from the updates of today that I'm actually the biggest I've ever been, the leanest I've ever been. I have some crazy details in my glutes, in my hamstrings, in my back, in my quads, pretty much like everywhere. I've never seen my physique looking so good, ever. And guys, I'm not prepping for a fucking show. I'm not prepping for a fucking show. Like, I've already done my first season. In 2023, it was really successful. Like, I know what it's like to prep for shows. I know what it's like to go to national shows. I'm not prepping for a show. The goal of this season is to not only become a pro natural bodybuilder, but it's to compete amongst the pros and to actually have a place in there. But not even just that. My main goal this season is to get on a world stage. I want to get on a fucking world stage. Not only that, I want to be top 3 in the world. And my aim is to be like top 1 in the world. And I know some people are just like, oh man, you're just talking. But in reality, like, it all starts with a vision. And yes, I might fail. And yes, I might not arrive first or second or third, or I might get there and, you know, not even place. But it doesn't matter. That is my vision, and the vision is just so important. So it starts with point number 1. It's literally the vision. So many people will tend to set goals for themselves that are way too realistic. Like, goals aren't even meant to be fully realistic. They're goals, they're objectives, they're dreams. It's cool if it sounds unrealistic. It is cool because, do you know what? I wasn't even thinking about maybe going on a world stage 8 months ago. Like, I wasn't. But then I realized, why the fuck not? Why should I not strive to go to a world stage? And I've done something pretty fucking crazy. Well, it's crazy to some people, but show number one is going to be in 4 weeks and 6 days. Like, we're nearly 4 weeks out, okay? That's going to be show number one. Now, show number two is going to be on the 31st of May, which is in 6 weeks and 6 days. And that's UK DFBA Heart of England, which as of 2 weeks ago, they have turned it into a pro qualifier, which means that I could become a pro. I could be a UK DFBA pro on that show. And of course, maybe I could win an overall there. But the reason why I want to do that show, obviously UK DFBA is a fantastic federation. Shout out to Christian James, who is now not only the head judge of UK DFBA, but also the owner of the federation. He's been doing an incredible job of making a federation even better than it's ever been. So I'm really excited to do the first show with him being in charge. But what could really happen after UK DFBA 31st of May is that if I win, I can go to the DFBA Global in Leicester, which is essentially a World Cup. And I'll be representing UK, and that'll be my first ever World Cup. How fucking crazy would that be? So that'll be maybe world show number one. Now, show number three, it's a new update that you have not heard yet. I'm actually going to compete in Florence. Now, I'm Italian. I've never competed in bodybuilding in Italy before. So, yeah, I'm going to compete in Florence, 6th of June, which is added, more than £2,000 to the budget of this season. But once again, if you don't invest money, you just don't see the fruits of your investments. So it's been extremely stressful to think if I could squeeze it in terms of time and money and obviously everything. But I've decided, I committed, and on the 6th of June I will be competing in Florence. The venue is amazing. I'm so looking forward to doing that show. But here's the thing, if I do qualify in the top 3 of that show, I will then qualify to do the NBA, PNBA Worlds in Budapest on the 20th of June. Now, as you can understand, the show on the 6th of June, it's the 6th of fucking June, right? So I'll be back in the UK, say on the 8th, and Budapest is on the 20th. Can you imagine me booking the flights to Budapest in the middle of summer, in the middle of summer in the same month? Like, it will be ridiculously expensive. So what I'm doing is literally booking the flights to do the Worlds in Budapest before I even compete in Florence. And to some people, it might be crazy, like, why the hell are you doing that? Like, you don't even know if you're going to qualify. And that's true. And that is entirely true. And you have a point if you say that. But the thing is, one, I'm manifesting it. I'm manifesting it. By booking the flights, it's almost as if, like, I know I'm going to get there. So there's a manifestation point of view first. 2, I genuinely think, like, I can be top 3 without even looking at the competitors. I just think for somebody to be on the 6th of June on stage with me and be bigger, more conditioned, posing better, and just better balanced than me, there would have to be 3 of them. There would have to be 3 of them so that I can come forth and not qualify for it. So do you know what? I find that extremely unlikely. So do you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So first 3 shows of the season. We'll see what happens. But then, potentially, there's 2 World Cups. 2 World Cups. So do you know what? After the 20th of June, I might be a world champion. Who knows? But if I don't do all these things, I will never know. And if I never know, that shit will fuck with my head so badly. So what we're going to talk about in this video is, of course, I'm going to try and push. I'm on my way to Stacks now, which is the beautiful gym that's been my home for the past 9 months now, where I've been doing this prep. So yeah, let's do push, and I'll see you in a fucking gym. Let's go. Alright, let's start with mistake number 1, shall we? Now, mistake number one in 2023 was I thought I gave myself enough time for the prep, but looking back, I definitely didn't. And I did what most bodybuilders tend to do as well, which is where they have been probably doing like a bulk phase by themselves, and then they start hiring a coach when they're going to prep, you know. And people think they will give themselves, say, maybe 30 weeks, which sounds like a long time, and they will be wherever they're at down to stage lean. Well, it's a big mistake, and I did it too, you know. So the first mistake was not giving myself enough time. Of course, was my first prep. I didn't know, but now, you know, I've started at the end of 2024. At the end of 2024, I already knew that at the beginning of 2026, the first early part of the season, I would have completed. Now think about it. Who at the end of 2024 says in 2026 I'm going to compete? Like a year and a half later, right? So for me, planning so far ahead was extremely challenging because I'm not so good at planning. But that was the first step. I gave myself a year and a half. Like a year and a half is many more weeks than 30 weeks. And what these allow me to do is essentially go through all the stages of gaining, cutting, gaining, pre-prepping, gaining, and then prepping, which allow me to start the prep at an optimal stage hormonally in terms of body fat. And by then, I had already grown my physique massively. Like in a year, my physique changed so radically. But by the time I started the prep, I was lean, I was so much bigger, and I was so ready for it. And even when I started the prep was more than 30 weeks. I started my prep at the beginning of December. My first show was at the end of May. So as you can see, there's like 6 months, even from the start of the prep. It's something that a lot of people don't do. You know, a lot of bodybuilders don't do. They would just like clock in the prep, then start, then feel like shit. But what these allow me to do is to feel so much more energetic, to not having to drop as much body fat as I thought I would, and to hold on to the new muscles I built. And not only that, during the prep, build new muscles. Because I'm honestly, right now I just have so much more muscle development than I had at the start of the prep, which is simple as because the body it can use the body fat reserves to then build new muscles, even in a deficit. And that's a physiological principle that we know and we are aware of. But yeah, first mistake was not giving myself enough time, and I thought I did. So if you want to compete, start a year and a half in advance. Plan it a year and a half in advance, and you're gonna have the easiest, most effective process, and also the easiest prep of your life with the best result at the end of the line. Mistake two was definitely too much volume. My previous coach put me on 2 leg days, 3, 4 sets of hack squats, lunges. It was way too much volume, and as a result, I wasn't able to progress. My performance was declining, and of course, like we thought it was because it was prep, right? Performance was declining because you're getting leaner, but the reality is performance was declining because it was way too much volume, and the volume you're not able to recover from is essentially junk volume. So I was doing way too much. Now I have 1 leg day per week, which works so well for me. I used to do 2 sets of hack squat and 2 sets of leg press, and then something like 7 months ago, we turned it into 1 set, 1 set of hack squat, 1 set of leg press, 2 sets of RDLs. That grew my legs so much better, like so much better. 1 shot, 1 kill. So yeah, reducing volume in terms of upper body and lower body, and even training 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week was a massive game changer, which made me grow more, like more and more volume. So yeah, low volume wins if you do it properly. Obviously, another mistake was putting myself in the hands of the wrong coach. But those are things you don't know through your experience. Now, obviously, my previous coach is a great bodybuilder. He's a great bodybuilder. He's a very renowned bodybuilder, especially in the natural bodybuilding world. You definitely know who he is, but I'm not going to name him because at the end of the day, I have no hard feelings towards him. He was just a terrible coach for me. Maybe he's a good coach for others. Definitely not a good coach for me. These are all things that you don't really know until you do, and then you learn from it. So I don't actually regret it because if anything, it taught me so much. So yeah, I'm actually grateful to the experience. But obviously now, when I have a much better coach, one that actually gives a shit about me, about how I'm feeling, about how things are going, generally cares, things are obviously going a hell of a lot better. But it's like, previous coach used to tell me, you think you're suffering now. There's people that eat 0 carbs and do double the amount of cardio. I'm like, if that's a better approach and it's a more optimal approach, why the fuck am I not doing that? Why the fuck am I not just programming that? Are you just assuming straight out the back that I'm not tough enough for it? So yeah, it was a terrible coach that was also like playing like psychological games on me. I really didn't appreciate. So as soon as the reverse diet was over, I ditched him, and I've never been in touch ever since. Mistake 3 is one of the most important, but some of you are going to overlook this, but it's just so important. I had already decided I was going to suffer because prep is supposed to be hard, and therefore, in my mind, I was like, this shit is hard, and therefore, and it was hard, especially when you do it for the first time, especially when you don't have the right coach in your corner. So because I already decided it was going to be hard, of course, I perceived it as very hard. The food noise was very high, and every workout was ridiculously painful, especially with that high volume. I had 100 lunges at the end of each leg workout. On day 1, it was 50 lunges weighted. And on day 2, it was 100 lunges body weight. It's like ridiculous, like so useful, so useless. I can't even begin to imagine. But yeah, in my mind, because I decided it was going to be hard, I perceived it as hard. The difference with this prep is because I took it one day at a time, and it was never awful, and it was never really hard. I just approached it like so much better. I actually told myself, this prep's going to be easy, this prep's going to be easy. And I'm now at 4 weeks out, I still think like it's easy. I still think it's easy because if I compare it to the previous prep, shit, it's easy, honestly. But what you have in your mind shapes how you're going to feel. So if you already preempt it and think it's going to be hard, you are going to have an awful experience. If you think your prep will be easy, chances are you think it's going to be easy. Of course, I have hard days. I'm literally hungry as soon as I finish a meal. I'm literally hungry most of the times. I'm literally, by the time I get to the end of the day, I'm so low in energy. But do you know what? Compared to where I was before, I'll take this any day. I feel so much better. I train so much better. Like I would have not been able to push this way, like the peak bulk of 2-3 years ago. There's no fucking way. There's just no way. So yeah, if you preempt it, what's in your mind is what's going to happen in your body. So be really careful with the thoughts that you have in your mind, because if you think it's going to be hard, if you think you might not be able to do it, then you're just simply not going to do it. So don't make that mistake. Mistake 4 is actually a diet mistake and not a training mistake. So let me just fill you in on the secret, guys. You do not need to eat shit food on prep. And not only that, but mistake number 4 is eating too much chicken, rice, and the same type of veg. What that means is I have cut out eggs, salmon, beef, because my coach told me that, but that is food I always had in my diet, which works so well. I was, chicken, rice, oats, sweet potatoes, green beans, and broccoli. The same. Now, it's not about variety here. It's about the fact that my body actually didn't respond very well. I started bloating and feeling absolutely terrible. Just feeling terrible. Now, I include salmon, eggs, egg whites, beef, steaks, what else? Oh, lean pork, And I eat all the vegetables under the sun. Like I eat so much vegetables. I eat cabbage, courgette, mushrooms, aubergine. I eat with so much variety. My gut microbiome is doing so much better, and I eat more healthy fats. I'm actually eating more fats than the previous prep. Yet I'm so much leaner. How does that work? Well, if you're a body recomposition coach, you know how that works. And I knew the theory. I'm paying this coach. I'm just going all in with the process, right? So yeah, mistake number 4 was eating too much of the same things. Just whey protein powder, chicken, rice, broccoli, beans, oats, and that's it. Whereas now I have so much more variety. I eat white potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, pasta, and all the good stuff, and I feel a hell of a lot better, like so much better. Just Google it. Your gut microbiome means everything, but that's just one of the reasons why you want to keep a varied diet. So yeah, definitely not making a mistake again, and so happy to be eating salmon and eggs. It makes me so happy. Mistake number 5, which I think is so important and so overlooked, and this is especially for the slightly more advanced athletes who track their numbers, right? I tell my clients you should always track their numbers. You should always track every single one of the sets. If you don't do it, you need to do it, at least if you're serious about progressing. But there's a point, especially in prep when you're pushing for very low levels of body fat, where you can get obsessed about your numbers, and that's just simply isn't realistic. I was, of course, trying to progress up until probably 10 weeks out, 11 weeks out. But afterwards, I was just getting a little bit frustrated about not being able to progress, and then later on, not being able to retain. So one thing I had to learn was just having the logbook next to me, but just not really logging, because not even not logging, is also like not being obsessed by the numbers and not being disappointed by the numbers, because just looking at those numbers can make you feel like, oh, I'm weaker. But in reality, you're not weaker. Your goal should be to retain muscles now. You can't grow any more tissue, and therefore, like to chase progression, it would just be to chase progression would be to potentially chase injuries. And if you chase, if you do get injured, then fucking prep is over, and you're not doing that. And I would have wasted a year and a half. So there was a point in prep where like you had to train intensively enough to retain as much muscle tissue, but also to not be so proud of your numbers that you're trying to chase them at all costs. It's a very fine balance between the two. And then obviously the other end of the spectrum is to just lift light because you expect it to. That's also not okay. So you have to find a balance between keeping performance more than acceptable and high enough, but also not to be stupid and too proud and wanting to progress, or of course having to chase high numbers. I don't do 5-plate hack squats anymore. I simply don't. There's a point in time I can do it. There's a point in time I can do 6 or 7 plates as well, and I've done it. But this is not that time. And if I do chase that, then I'll be fucked. So do track your numbers always. But when you're on prep, you're on bodybuilding prep, don't be obsessed by it. There's a very fine line in between lifting too light and losing muscle mass, or lifting too heavy and chasing injuries. So that was something that I've learned, because in my previous prep, I was most definitely still obsessed with the logbook, and I had to progress at all costs possible, up until 2 weeks out even, which is crazy when I think about it. Mistake number 6, and you wouldn't believe just how important this is. This is especially for competitors. It's not so much for other people, but a little bit for, even if you're not a competitor, listen to this, because trust me, it's a mistake. Now, it's about posing. It's practicing posing at the time of prep. Fuck that. It was such a mistake. Like, obviously, that was my first prep, which means like I was terrible at posing, okay? So I have, of course, started giving a shit about posing when I started competing, but when I was already on prep. But that was a big mistake, because posing is literally classed. It's a full body workout. If you do posing properly, it's classed as a full body workout, because it's so intense. It's so intense. You see bodybuilders on stage doing that seamlessly. It takes years. It takes years to get it to that point. So obviously, since the end of 2022, I've been practicing posing, and now it's 2026. I can pose fairly well, but practicing posing during my whole off season and all of the off seasons, all of the mandatory poses, and keep improving them, made a tremendous difference. Not only my posing, but also my physique, because there's science that literally, and if you listen to Huberman podcast, Huberman Lab, you'll know this. But if you are able to contract the muscles without working, okay, so me being able to contract my quad right now, right, it's a neurological response that obviously we're able to do with certain muscles, but not all of the muscles. So the science that says if you're able to recruit muscle fibers muscle fibers while not working them, then you're going to be able to activate those muscles way better when you do work out. So that's point number one. Point number two is, of course, in a stamina perspective. Point number three is, of course, in the quality of the posing, right? There's just so much that goes on into posing. But practicing during my off season improved my posing fitness massively, improved the quality of my posing massively. So now that I'm on prep 4 weeks out, like, I'm so confident with my posing. I'm literally so confident. I'm still working, refining them, but well more confident. And I tell you what, last thing, when I was on British finals, I was against 14 people. So they put it posing for over something like 45 minutes on stage or longer, and my posing stamina was terrible, and my posing was terrible. And if my posing stamina would have been better, I would have been not just top 5, but I would have been top 3 in the UK. So yeah, definitely lesson learned. And if you are going to practice your posing during your prep, okay, you're fucked. You should practice posing with the same importance as if you are a 1 week out during your off season, even if you don't know how to compete. And if you're not a competitive bodybuilder, somebody who's just trying to improve their physique, trust me, do practice posing, because one, you're going to be able to display your physique better, and two, from a neurological perspective, you're going to be able to recruit way more of those muscle fibers. Trust me, it's super important. Mistake number 7, last one from today. Calorie banking. Calorie banking was a mistake. Now, I'll tell you what it means. Now, if you know prep, calorie banking is great, right? Even up until 20 weeks out, calorie banking can still be good. But in prep, don't do that. What I mean is, so my birthday was in March. Usually I would have eaten something a little bit off plan and would have balanced the calories either the previous or the next day, or the previous and the next day. And I used to think, oh, this is so good for me mentally because I get a little bit of a break and it also follow my calories. But that's a terrible idea, because especially if you, in those days you train, that disrupts your sleep, disrupts your performance. And it sounds almost idiotic, but it does disrupt you hormonally. To some level, because it wasn't just my birthday, it was also Easter, and there was also maybe like I had a wedding, a friend got married in April, so there were like 3, 4, 5 occasions where I would be doing calorie banking, which used to make me feel awful. I don't recommend calorie banking during prep. Don't do it. Off season, great. Pre-prep, great. Cut, great, unless you preparing for the shoot. But calorie banking was like a big mistake in that sense. So yeah, I would put that as mistake number 7. And just like that, push 4.5 weeks out is over 7 of my worst mistakes from the previous prep, which I hope, even if you're not a competitive bodybuilder, you found helpful. Now, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I will highly appreciate it if you found this remotely helpful, to consider maybe, perhaps, just maybe, hit the subscribe button. I'll be very grateful. And also, an apology to you all, because I'm supposed to share 1 video per week, but it's been, I think, 2 or 3 weeks I've not shared the video. And the reason being completely honest with you guys, is I'm really busy with Instagram content, with coaching mainly. I have over 50 plus clients to manage, and obviously prep, which is a job in and of itself. So I want to get better at sharing videos regularly. So I am going to be better. So rest assured, if you choose to trust me by following this channel, I can only promise you that you will see more useful videos, and not all of them will be about prep and bodybuilding, which is always a plus, because I know a lot of you don't care. A lot of you just want to get jacked. So yeah, I'm going to leave you with my posing routine. What you are literally about to see now is my 60-second individual routine, which I'm actually quite proud about, because I've actually improved it quite a lot, but we're still not there, and you're going to see the final results of this when I step on stage. So thank you so much. Enjoy the lovely weather, enjoy spring, have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll catch you soon. Coach Paolo.